Catch the summer premiere of Whose Line Is It Anyway? Tuesday, July 16th on the CW.
Breaking news here on the News at 10 tonight. Good evening, I'm Micah Ullman. Breaking news out of Simi Valley, where several people are reportedly injured after a mishap at a fireworks show. Quickly on the phone now to Ventura County Fire Department PIO Mike Lindberry. Mike, what can you tell us about what happened in Simi Valley tonight?
Well, at this point, I have very little information about what's going on, but what I can tell you is we had an apparent ground burst of one of the fireworks mortars that injured several people in the area. We had units on scene at the time. We've actually bolstered those units, ordered up to 8 ambulances at this point, and several engine companies to administer aid to the folks there. So what we know is that we have an unknown amount of victims, possibly up to 10 victims in that area with mild to moderate injuries. I'm waiting to find out. I'm en route to the scene right now, and I'll have more information in about 40 minutes.
So we're hearing reports that as many as 24 people might be injured as we look at live pictures of a triage being set up there. You're saying more closer to a number of 10.
Well, no, what I'm saying is we're not sure the number. We're still determining the number. Initially, that number was 10. As I've listened to radio traffic en route, it sounds like more patients are popping up as they get their triage done.
So again, Mike, to describe what happened in a nutshell, you're saying a large number of the fireworks went off at once. Obviously, they're supposed to go off in sequence, but it sounds like obviously some sort of a problem, and a large number of them went off. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I don't know how many of them went off, but it was an apparent ground burst, and I think that was the cause. Once we get a chance to investigate, we'll know how many of those mortars actually went off. What we're faced now with is the issue of, okay, now we have all those mortars loaded. We're working in the area, so we do have that hazard of, basically unexploded fireworks mortars there that can be, fairly serious, and we've got to go through with the pyrotechnicians and find the procedures to unload those mortars. But right now, just clear the scene and make sure they're safe. You
bet, and of course, treat the injured to be the first priority there for first responders on the scene. Mike Lindberry with us, the Ventura County Fire PIO, en route to the scene tonight in Simi Valley. Mike, thanks for your time. And Tim Lynn in Sky 5 with a view overhead. Tim, clearly looking at a triage situation, and from your vantage point, perhaps the number is greater than 10 of the number of people injured from what we can see.
Yeah, from what I can see here, yes. They've been working on a lot of folks down here. You can see right there the one girl there having her arm wrapped up. We've seen 2 people loaded into rescue ambulances and taken out of the area. But you can see those green, yellow, and red tarps there. That's the triage area. Red being the seriously injured, yellow being moderately, and then green being minor. And luckily, most of them were on the green at the beginning, but then they've moved several of them over to the yellow area here. But yeah, quite a few people have been injured here. This is at the Rancho Santa Susana Community Park. It's right off Stearns and Los Angeles here in Simi Valley. And you can see right there, they're still working very hard here. A big response by the Ventura County Fire as well as ambulance services down there. You see them right there working on that girl, covering her up. And it's quite a scene here. A lot of people are hurt. But as the PIO, or the press information officer, was saying, they had a ground burst of one of those large mortars. Normally what happens is a charge is supposed to fire that mortar up into the air. But unfortunately, apparently that did not happen, and one went off on the ground, and it's quite a large explosion when it does go off on the ground. Whether it set off other pyrotechnics or not, that is unknown. But just for the amount of people here that are hurt, it's it could possibly have gone off and landed into the crowd, and then possibly gone off, as the people were in the park watching them go up. But just for this amount of people to be hurt by one round going off, highly unusual. But you can see right there, they have the one person on the backboard working them over to the red area of the triage. And like I said, there's a line of fire engines and ambulances down here on the access road. The area, when we came overhead about 20 minutes ago, was just teeming with people as they were streaming out of the park. This is a very large complex here right off Los Angeles and Stearns on the very east end of Simi Valley. And apparently a lot of folks out here to watch the fireworks. And unfortunately, their fun was interrupted by this explosion, what was described by witnesses as a very, very large explosion now. You can see right now firefighters are still working on victims down here. We've seen them working well over 15 folks down there. You can see all in those other people there, a small child right there being worked on, father standing right next to him. So, you know, they have all sizes and shapes down here that they're dealing with, firefighters and paramedics, along with ambulances, crews, trying to separate out the more seriously injured, get them off to a hospital as quickly as possible, then deal with the walking wounded who are coming into the area. But quite a big triage area here at the park in Simi Valley. So, Micah, let me send it back down to you.
Tim, as we look at the injured being treated there in the triage unit, one would think that a large number of those injured would be suffering from some version of shrapnel injury.
Well, that's true. These fireworks are made out of different types of chemicals, phosphorus and that type, that continue to burn. So if one of these mortars did, you know, the large mortars you see going off in the air, they're huge, and you have something like that go off on the ground, you have little small balls of burning chemical and compounds flying around and sticking to you and hitting you and burning you. And then, you know, it's just like the phosphorus that gets on you. It just continues to burn. You can't get it out. So as we've seen in some of the stories, we've talked about the firework technicians and how the mortars are built. They're, you know, a small, you know, ball with multiple other balls that cause that big burst, the sparkling type thing. Those sparkles are separate little balls inside of the main mortar that come flying out to make that big circular pattern. Well, when that goes off into a crowd, yeah, you're going to have people hurt. You can see right here, you got the man with his head completely wrapped up, his arms wrapped up. So a lot of burn injuries, and also possibly shrapnel, as you were saying, is pieces of those cardboard just flying out, and then moreover the explosion that goes on to propel those small balls that make the big starburst out into the sky. Those things are, you know, coming out of there at a very high rate of speed, on fire and designed to be burning. So they'll burn for quite a while to make that everlasting look in the air as it goes off. But unfortunately, when it goes off next to you, it's going to burn you very, very bad. And it looks like that's what's happened here. These people are being, you know, taken out here, an IV on this lady here on a backboard, being carried over to a ambulance. And so this is what we've been seeing here. They've been getting them put on boards, taken with paramedics over to the ambulances and getting them out of here. And it's been a steady flow out of this park for about the last 20 minutes now, as we've been sitting overhead here in Sky 5.
Yeah, reports of more than 24 people injured have yet to confirm that. Reports from the PIO there, Ventura County Fire, saying initially that as many as 10 people were hurt, but from what we're looking at, clearly the number is going to be greater than 24. Tim Lynn, stand by in Sky 5. We'll keep that live picture up as we bring Annisa Wynn onto the telephone. Annisa, I understand you were at the fireworks show. Describe what you saw, what you heard, what happened.
Geez, we were sitting up close, right behind the gate, you know, to where they let the fireworks off. And I've been a resident of Simi Valley for 21 years now, and I come here every single year watching the show, you know, expecting it to be loud and nice and just to have a nice time for 4th of July. And the fireworks were so close. You could see them on the ground, just dispersing left and right. None of them hitting the air, you know, but going left and right into the crowd to where people sit, and I just knew something was wrong. This wasn't right. This was not supposed to happen. It never happens this way, you know? And then all of a sudden, it just stopped, and you could see the police just right around the corner, hearing the sirens, hearing the people scream. It was just something I knew was not supposed to happen.
So, Annisa, it sounds as though you're describing your position up against a fence as one that was probably as close to the fireworks as anyone. How far away were you from those explosions?
I want to say we were about, you know, 100 to 150 feet from the gate. The police always have it, you know, lined off with the cautioned yellow tape, and we always sit behind there by the gate, and we can see them go off. We can see the people light the fireworks, and when they hit the sky, we're so close that our whole neck has to go back to look at the fireworks in the sky, you know. But today we were looking at the ground. The fireworks were on the ground, going off and going into the crowd.
So sort of shooting along the ground rather than straight into the air. What sort of injuries did you see? Were you close to anyone who was hurt?
I was not close to anyone who was hurt. The police just told us, you know, scoot back up. Everyone back up. Just back up. You know, everything's going to be okay. Just back up. But from the screams, we knew people were injured. People were screaming. It sounded terrible. We knew people were hurt.
Boy, a frightening thing. How long, Annisa, did those fireworks go off in sort of a sideways fashion?
The fireworks show, honestly, it went on for about 2 minutes before the mishap had taken place. About 2 minutes.
And how long after that?
Ground,
right.
They were on the ground for at least a minute.
Wow. Shooting onto the ground for at least a minute.
Yes, sir.
Boy. And as we can see, a result of that, a triage unit, and what we understand is more than 24 people hurt now. Annisa Wynn on the phone with us. She was a spectator at the fireworks show. Annisa, thanks for taking the time. Our coverage will continue from Simi Valley live in Sky 5 on the other side of this break. Stay with us.
Everything gets better when any size icy cold Coca-Cola soft drink or sweet tea is just $1 at McDonald's.
The long-lasting Subaru Outback doesn't always see the easiest miles, but you can count on it seeing more of them. Right now, get 0% APR financing on all 2013 Subaru Outback models and maintain the love with 2 years of complimentary maintenance.
Independence Day is almost here, and Living Spaces is celebrating with phenomenal living room deals. Shop our comfortable recliners starting at $195, the latest sofa styles starting at $295, and reclining sofas starting at just $395. And while supplies last, get the Vivan sectional or Caleb sofa and love seat, your choice, for just $495. Plus, pay no interest for 3 years with your good credit, but only for a limited time at Living Spaces. Living Spaces.
With my job, I have to drive a lot, so I really appreciate saving on gas. Ford C-Max Energy lets me go further. LA to San Diego, I can do that on $20 with room to spare. C-Max is packed with great features. I love the navigation and entertainment system. And now I get to use the Diamond Lane. What girl doesn't love diamonds? Want something fun to drive and saves on gas? Get a Ford C-Max.
$1 just got amazing. Enjoy McDonald's any size sweet tea or soft drinks like an ice cold Dr. Pepper for just $1.
Morongo. Good times.
I wake up to KTLA News every morning.
In my house, there's like a Pavlovian reflex. When we hear the breaking news sound, we run to the TV.
Their coverage of breaking news, I believe, is one of the reasons why we watch the station.
You get your news, what you need to know as far as weather, traffic, breaking news, what's going on in the world.
The only station I watch the first 2 hours of the day.
Catch a full hour of Friends, weeknights at 11 here on KTLA-5.
Breaking news continues. Live pictures from Sky 5 on the left in Simi Valley, a fireworks show that went wrong. What's described by fire officials as a ground burst. The screen right image there. This is video that's just into the newsroom showing what happened, described by a witness as a fireworks show that started for the first 2 minutes and went off just fine. And about 2 minutes in, the fireworks started shooting sideways, sort of into the crowd, as described by a witness. The result, from what we understand, at least 24 people injured. You're looking at a triage scene now live from Sky 5. This happening at the Rancho Santa Susana Park at Stearns in Los Angeles on the east edge of Simi Valley tonight. A fireworks show that they put on every year. Never have they seen something like this. Tonight, a lot of fear in the community, those people that were there, a lot of screaming described by witnesses after this happened, and the fireworks shooting sideways, we're told, for upwards of a minute. Tim Lynn and Sky 5 watching first responders deal with the situation. Tim, what do you see?
I can see right here they just wrapped this person up in blankets. Normally that's what they do when they have severe burns. They'll try to cover them up as much as possible to keep them as clean as possible to transport them off. But as our caller described, the fireworks going off sideways into the crowds is just now you're sitting there watching, and now you're being showered by these mortar balls that are falling into the crowd and exploding. And I imagine it was quite a sight for the folks there. But right here, they're still working on numerous people in this triage area. We've watched 3 or 4 of them being carried away to ambulances. And then you have, folks like this. You have a small child and their dad just hanging on, probably one of their family members right there wrapped up in the blanket, head bandaged, possibly one of their family members injured right there. But we're seeing this time and time again down here in the triage area as the fire department treats these folks in this area. You see still right there lifting them up off to an ambulance on the backboard, and this is what's been going on here ever since about 9:40 to 9:45 when we arrived, watching these folks come through. You have nurses on scene here as well with the ambulance crews tending to these folks, but a very bad scene here. A lot of folks were hurt during this fireworks display, and you can see the result of it, this large triage area with the Ventura County Fire here working feverishly to get these folks bundled up and sent off to the local area hospitals to be treated. So now they're going to have to find different burn centers to get them to, because the hospital in the area here will be saturated very quickly, and then they're going to have to be able to get them over the hill, possibly over into the Grossman Burn Ward over in Van Nuys, that area, as well as out to more hospitals out towards Oxnard and Camarillo. But a lot of folks here hurt. It's got to be at least above 15 right now, just from what I've seen. Of the folks on the ground here being worked on by the paramedics. You can see the fire department, now the police department here also investigating to find out exactly what went on. But, as we've been doing the coverage of all the fireworks shows that have been going on, they put those mortar tubes, those big round tubes, into boxes that are filled with sand, and that's designed to keep those mortars pointed straight up. And unfortunately, what it sounds like here, and just only speculation, is possibly one of those mortar boxes tipped over. And being computer controlled, once the ignition has started and the program has started, it's hard to shut it off really quickly before numerous rounds go off. Possibly what has happened here from a description of the witnesses of multiple rounds being fired out of the mortar tubes into the crowd, and then you have to deal with those airburst rounds going off in the crowd, burning those folks, and causing this widespread damage and injuries here at the park. But you can see folks comforting each other here as they continue to work on all the victims, still wrapped up there waiting to be transported off, and they asked for numerous ambulances to respond out here, and we can see a large line of responders down here, but not too many ambulances left. One right there, that's been the main triage ambulance on scene. It's been here the whole time, and they've been using that for supplies and bandages and things of that sort to treat these folks, and then they carry them away to awaiting ambulances. But looking down, right now I only see one ambulance still in the line of fire trucks that are here along the north border of the park. But quite a scene still developing here. I'm sure more will come out to exactly find out what happened here. These are usually very, very controlled. The crowds are usually not in the area where the fireworks are shot, just because there could be a spontaneous combustion of all the fireworks at once, like they had in San Diego last year. You don't want anybody around it there, but if a tube tips over and starts firing into the crowd, then now all bets are off there, and folks are going to get hurt, as we see right here in Simi Valley. So that's the latest. We'll keep an eye on it and bring you any more as it becomes available. Yeah, and a secondary concern for firefighters on scene tonight, the potential for more live mortars that are in the area, potentially a threat to the people that are left there, but clearly a very scary experience for so many people there in Simi Valley tonight. 2 minutes into a fireworks show, what's described as a mishap, firefighters calling it a ground burst, fireworks essentially shooting sideways toward the crowd rather than into the air as they're designed to do. And best estimate, upwards of 24 people injured, being transported to the hospital area to the hospital there in Simi Valley. We'll continue to follow this developing news out of Simi Valley and bring you any more as it becomes available. Elsewhere here tonight on this July 4th, a fireworks controversy perhaps exemplifies the term "no good deed goes unpunished." A gracious woman has privately funded 4th of July fireworks for the city of Torrance for the past 12 years. But this year, she's asked to pay public safety costs for the event. Rick Chambers on the story for us tonight, live in Torrance. Rick?
Yeah, Micah, over the years, Jackie Briles has probably spent more than $500,000 out of her own pocket to entertain the residents of Torrance on the 4th of July, and she does it often when the city can't do it itself. But now city fathers want to charge her a fee to do that, and she's not having it.
I'm not even down there with them, but it still makes me feel good that they all like it.
92-year-old Jackie Briles is referring to the private fireworks show that she funds every year just offshore from her beachfront Torrance estate. Last year, the city even sent her a thank you letter for the show because budget cuts had forced the city to stop its own 4th of July festivities several years ago. Then last week, Torrance officials notified Jackie she'd have to pay for police patrols on the beach in front of her home.
Absolutely shocked. We were stunned. For 13 years we've been doing the show, and this was the first time that they've ever requested any money.
Almost 20,000.
Did you pay?
No.
Why not?
We didn't want to.
She didn't want to because the fireworks show lasts only 15 minutes. But the city demanded she pay for 12 hours of police overtime to deal with the unruly crowds.
I said, the crowds don't come until it starts to get dark. No, they're there all day long. I said, no, they're not.
But the city stood firm.
And I said, you know, we're not paying it. And if I have to, I'll cancel the show and we'll eat 50% of it, and that'll be it.
Suddenly, though, the city backed off its demand and said it would readdress the issue again next year. They didn't want to argue with you anymore?
Anymore.
You're a tough cookie?
Oh, yeah, right. I'm a real tough cookie.
Jackie says she'll consider all her options before committing to next year's 14th annual fireworks display. Well, we're hoping that you don't stop.
Well, I hope I don't stop, too. Tell you the truth.
It's up to the city.
I might die before I'd stop.
And Jackie told me tonight that the fees, city fees, may go up next year, she thinks, to make up for what they couldn't get from her this year. In Torrance, I'm Rick Chambers. Michael, let me throw it back to you.
Rick, thanks. A stone's throw up the Strand from there. Hermosa Beach police out in force this 4th, cracking down on public drinking on the sand and the Strand. Officers warning people to think twice about drinking alcohol where they shouldn't. KTLA-5's Doug Kolk live in Hermosa Beach. And Doug, it seems like their plan is working this year.
Well, Micah, I will tell you this. I just spoke to a police lieutenant, and they tell me that Hermosa Beach police filled up their jail tonight, believe it or not. A few assaults, a grand theft, all the rest drunken public charges. But officers made so many arrests tonight that they had to take the rest of their suspects over to the Manhattan Beach jail. They still tell me it's nothing compared to last year.
I'm just gonna watch fireworks with my friends.
Strolling down the Hermosa Beach boardwalk this 4th of July,
We've been out here since 5 o'clock.
Nikki Robinson and Rita Lake can't help but to notice.
Signs everywhere.
They're pretty tough to miss. They warn,
Fines are tripled.
Anyone with an open container can expect a hefty fine, as much as 3 times the normal amount.
It was really crazy. We had people who were drunk in public, fighting, people literally knocking people over, sake of knocking them over. It was really bad. It was out of control for a while, and we really put on all of our resources, but again, we're very outnumbered.
Everybody in town knows that this year the things that went on in the past aren't going to happen again.
This is what led lawmakers to push for the increased fines. Fights, public intoxication, rowdy behavior. Do you feel safer this year compared to other years because of the drinking rules?
This is our first year down here, but I can imagine that it would be much safer.
Law enforcement was out in full effect, 3 times the amount. Hermosa Beach police and LA County deputies.
Makes us feel safer, definitely.
Patrolling the beach.
A couple people have been getting really, really crazy, but other than that, it's been pretty safe.
And we come back out live here in Hermosa Beach. Deputies, Hermosa Beach police, all tell me that they are going to be out here up until this is all over, probably around 3 a.m. In the meantime, this drinking law remains in effect up until July 7th. Michael, we'll send it back to you in Hollywood.
Doug's got a breathing room there tonight. We saw you earlier, and it was a little too close for comfort with some of those people.
You know, I guess it's what happens when you deal with public drunkenness, but the good thing, even according to police, is that really no violence out here today.
Yeah, you got it. All right, Doug Kolk for us in Hermosa. Do not drink and drive, holiday or not. If you risk it, especially on a night like tonight, you'll most likely get caught. Officers are out in force tonight looking for drunk drivers. The new California campaign, Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over. DUI checkpoints up and will stay up all weekend. The California Highway Patrol on maximum enforcement, and that means all available officers are on duty. According to the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, July 4th is the deadliest day on the road for all Americans. An average of 134 people died in traffic accidents every Independence Day from the years 2007 to 2011. We will have much more on the 4th of July celebrations. Coming up here at 10:30, how President Obama spent the day and how many hot dogs it took to win the annual eating competition. So we understand, Jim Castillo, it was a good night to watch fireworks. There was concern about some marine layer along the coast. How'd it fare?
Yeah, you know what, Mike, it came in so fast, and we're still seeing the low cloudiness come on in here. It's very humid out there. You notice that. Our onshore flow has started up, and you can even see the haze at the top of the downtown skyscrapers in downtown LA tonight. Infrared satellite shot, you can see the cloud cover starting to stream into the valleys. It definitely is all over the coastal areas. And it's going to keep us a little bit cooler, but of course the sun set at about 8:08. Clouds moved in fast, and temperatures are very mild out there tonight. But coming up, we'll talk much more about this, plus a wreck on the 605 northbound. Micah, we're getting word that all lanes are shut down on the 605 northbound at Whittier. I'll get more information on that, too, coming right up in just a few minutes.
Jim, thank you. And we will continue our coverage in Simi Valley on the other side of the break. A fireworks accident at a show there at the Rancho Santa Susana Park. Upwards of 24 people injured when those fireworks started shooting off sideways into the crowd. More live on the other side.
Mortgage interest rates have tumbled. There's no way to go but up. Before rates rise, get this rate with no lender closing costs.
866-66 faster. You've got the green light.
School's out for summer. It's time to celebrate.
Let's get busy!
The boys are back to give you an unforgettable weekend. Relive those summer vacation glory days. Enter the Grown Ups 2 sweepstakes for a chance to win a family 4-pack of tickets to any amusement park of your choice and so much more. To enter, visit grownups2prize.com and check out a sneak peek of Grown Ups 2 during 2.5 Men, Thursday, July 11th. Grown Ups 2 in theaters July 12th, rated PG-13.
There you go. All right. Good night. You too.
I'm going to dream about that steak.
I'm going to dream about that tiramisu.
What a night, huh? But can the test drive be over now? Head back to the dealership.
Oh, yeah.
It's practically yours.
Sorry.
But we still need your signature. Volkswagen Sign Then Drive is back, and it's never been easier to get a Passat. That's the power of German engineering. Get 0 down, 0 do it signing, 0 deposit, and 0 first month's payment on any new Volkswagen. Visit VWDealer.com today.
Get unbeatable savings on all appliances at Howard's July 4th week-long super sale going on now. Here's a Frigidaire 18 cubic foot top freezer refrigerator with reversible door, only $4.99.
Nobody beats Howard's. Nobody.
At Marie Callender's, we like our barbecue bold and our slice of pie free. Backyard barbecue and pie combos are back with slow roasted tri-tip, tender barbecue ribs, and more. Starting at only $9.99. Choose from 3 great entrees or build your own platter with 2 barbecue favorites, 2 classic sides, plus a free slice of pie. It's home-cooked happiness, summertime style. The Backyard barbecue and pie combos at Marie Callender's and Callender's Grill. And while you're in, take home Marie's amazing whole pies to go.
The last time I had my own late-night show, America began a decade of unmatched prosperity. Now, I'm not saying that I was responsible for that, but I'm also not saying that. Your call.
The Arsenio Hall Show.
A man never backs down.
Yay!
2.5 Men. Weeknights at 7 and 7:30 on KTLA-5.
Continuing coverage of this breaking news in Simi Valley, where a fireworks show at the Rancho Santa Susana Park there in Simi Valley went terribly wrong. The fireworks started shooting up in the air as they're supposed to. We understand about 2 minutes into that show, they started shooting sideways, essentially right into the crowd. Our best estimate at this point, upwards of 24 people injured. A large majority of them have been transported to the hospital there in Simi Valley. And Tim Lynn is overhead in Sky 5. Tim, we're looking at what's left of that triage. Obviously, all the victims, all the wounded have been moved on.
Yeah, that's right. They've walked most of them out of here now. The last few just left a few minutes ago. But we noticed there, once that got cleared out, we kind of looked around for the mortar bed where they actually have the fireworks. You can see right here out in the middle of this very large field. You see those boxes I was talking about earlier. They put them in these boxes, fill it with sand so they don't turn over. But look right there. You can see signs of an explosion. You see those black mortar tubes just laying all over the place. Those are what hold the rocket or the actual mortars that go off and fly up into the air. They're supposed to be pointing straight up, as you see those ones on the right. But right in the middle of the screen, you see where there was possibly an explosion, where the mortar tubes had let go, and then all of a sudden came apart, and then now you have chaos with fireworks going all directions, shooting into the crowd all over this area. But yeah, you can see right there the damage to those wooden boxes, the mortar tubes laying all over. So there's the possible reason why they had such a widespread amount of fireworks going into the crowd. See how far away the tubes were shot. The explosion must have been pretty good size. It's described as huge by some of the witnesses out there that called into the desk. But you can see there, that's what they're going to be working with. And as we spoke about earlier, now they got to deal with unfired fireworks out here, mortar tubes that are still filled, ready to go. Now they're going to have to go in there cautiously and work on those to deactivate them, to break them down, so that the danger to the workers out here is not as great as it would be, because these things could possibly still go off. There could be smoldering going on in there from that explosion, which would cause those other mortar tubes to start igniting. But right now, it looks like they're keeping the area clear. There's the command post, or the area where the operators fire the fireworks from. You can see the area.
There's a quick breakup in the signal. Tim Lynn and Sky 5 describing what happened there in Simi Valley. For more perspective, on the phone, Robert Paglia. We understand he was there. Robert, are you with us?
Yes, I'm with you.
So describe for me, if you will, what happened there in Simi Valley tonight. How close were you to the fireworks?
I was actually about 30 feet from the fence where the mortars were out into the field. And what happened was we saw one shoot off about 10 feet above all the mortars, and it just unloaded on top of the crowd. I saw to my right a father torpedoing his son, holding his son down to the ground. Another child with his father covering the child up with a blanket. It was quite frightening at first. My initial thought was get behind a tree. And from the spot I was at, and the person about 20 feet behind me got hit. And they were hit pretty hard.
Now, Robert, describe their injuries as best you can. Were they burn injuries? Were they shrapnel injuries? A combination, perhaps?
Well, my friend on his leg, he was down on the ground, didn't even know he was burned until he actually felt the bleeding because he was in such shock. And he's being treated right now, too.
Well, we hope your friend is okay.
Shook myself.
What's that?
I'm still a little shaken up myself from what I saw.
I can imagine. How many people were there, Robert? Give me a guess. Couple hundred more?
Oh, this is definitely something everybody in Simi Valley comes to. You know, they get excited for the fireworks show that we have here. And it's a really good fireworks show. But this time, those are scary feelings.
Yeah. Now the show started, from what I understand, perfectly well, and it went on for a couple of minutes before this happened?
Yeah, it was just like 2-3 minutes, and all of a sudden it just went to mortars going different directions. Over our head, right through our group of friends and family. And you're just seeing people getting hit and injured all around you.
But you weren't hit, from what I understand.
I was there. I was standing there just watching this unfold right in front of my eyes. It was quite shocking.
Wow. Robert Paglia describing for us the sheer panic in the crowd and the anxiety that he experienced as he's describing it for us. About 2 minutes into this fireworks show, it all went haywire, and the fireworks then started shooting, as Robert described, in all directions, including into the crowd. And our best estimate at this point, upwards of 24 people injured. We've been watching the triage area, and there you see it live. We saw, when we got on scene, probably 10 to 15 people on primarily the yellow mats and the green mats. Those would be moderately injured people. The red mat would be the severely injured. We saw but one victim on that mat as we watched them being loaded into an ambulance. At this point, we would guess, Tim, somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 to 24 people?
Oh, at least. I mean, we just keep seeing them being carried out, being walked out. We saw one girl being carried out by two men walking over to a car. Yeah, they're taking them out of here as anything they can get them into to get them off. But we've seen major burns or major burn-looking injuries where they wrap them up completely. Heads are completely wrapped up, and they're on a backboard with IVs all the way down to, you know, wrapped up legs and things of that sort. So all sorts of injuries here. It has to be at least up into the 20s just from the amount of folks we saw down there. And as you said, it's pretty well clearing out here right now. The last few getting into that main ambulance. That ambulance right there has been here since the beginning. That's what they were using for all their supplies to work on the folks in the triage area. But it's quite a scene out here, but it's starting to wind down now as they've gotten most of the seriously injured out of here, and then the walking wounded have just been loaded into that ambulance and be taken off to that local area hospital. But right now the investigation is going to start on exactly what caused this explosion here. As we showed you earlier, the mortar box is knocked over and then mortar tubes scattered throughout the area in the safe zone where they put the fireworks in. But right there, the commanders from the Ventura County Fire on scene here with the police department going to have to figure out exactly what caused this all to happen here in Simi Valley. So Micah, let me send it back to you.
Tim, Lynn, and Sky 5. We can tell you now from Ventura County Fire, they have confirmed 14 patients. Of course, that number will likely change. We've witnessed with our own eyes a number greater than that, but that's what they can confirm for us at this point. 14 patients transported to the hospital with some of them moderate injuries. We frankly don't know the degree of the severity of the injuries of all of the people, but from what we could see, knowing how they lay out a triage and how they prioritize treatment, that a vast majority of them were able to walk off on their own power, obviously shaken up and injured to some degree to be taken to the hospital. But it wouldn't appear that there was a vast majority of people with significant injury, though that could change as well. Again, confirmed 14 people hurt as they begin to clean up the triage area now and transport the last of the patients to the hospital there in Simi Valley. 14 confirmed hurt after the fireworks explosion went sideways on that crowd in Simi Valley tonight. More on this developing news as it becomes available. New here tonight at 10. Investigators say the 22-year-old daughter of an LAPD sergeant has admitted to drinking before a hit-and-run crash in Gardina that killed a postal worker as he rode his bike to work. KTLA's Kimberly Cheng live in Rialto tonight with reaction from the victim's family. Kimberly?
Micah, good evening. And that car that police believe was involved in that deadly hit and run wasn't found until 3 days after the crime, and it was parked at a home a Los Angeles police officer shared with his daughter. And we spoke with the victim's family tonight here in Rialto, and they're questioning exactly how much he may have known.
Everybody who's accountable to be just that, held accountable. Yeah. Anyone that did anything to cover it up, to yes. brush it under the rug, yes. if you will, I'm going to need all of that to be brought forth.
It's a hit-and-run investigation that's raising questions tonight over how much an LAPD sergeant knew. His daughter, 22-year-old Vanessa Yanez, was arrested yesterday for allegedly hitting and killing 60-year-old Jesse Dotson, a postal worker who was riding his bicycle to work near El Segundo Boulevard and Vermont in Gardina about a week ago.
The decent thing would have been to just stop and check him out, call somebody, get some help for him. He might have still been here now.
But authorities say Yanez didn't stop, and she didn't report it either. Instead, she told police in another area that her car had been stolen. Police there tipped off Gardina PD, believing her car matched the description involved in the hit and run. Police found the badly damaged car at the home she shares with her father, Sergeant Arturo Yanez. Gardina police say they had enough evidence to arrest her. Yanez has since been released. We went to the family's home, but the gate was blocked, so we couldn't get in. Nobody answered her listed phone number.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system.
Tonight, the Dotson family wants answers and are calling for a thorough investigation into how much Sergeant Yanez knew.
Let the same justice, the same law that you have taken a vow to uphold and protect, please let it apply even in your own household.
Even though they have a lot of questions, the family tells me tonight they're focusing on their family. Dotson leaves behind a wife and 6 children.
Oh, I miss him so much.
You know, it's just sad all the way around.
Yanez faces charges of vehicular manslaughter, perjury, filing a false report, and felony hit and run. I spoke with the Gardina Police Department, and they tell me Sergeant Yanez is not under investigation, but if they find out that he had any information during the course of this investigation, he could face charges, but right now he's not under investigation. For now, reporting live in Rialto, Kimberly Chang, KTLA-5 News.
Kimberly, thank you. Coming up here, meteorologist Jim Castillo with a look at your forecast. We'll be right back.
The KTLA-5 News brought to you SAP Enhanced in Espanol by Cash Call.
Hey, check this out. Cash Call can refi your fixed-rate mortgage for 4.25% rate and APR with no closing costs, not even an appraisal deposit. So don't be a dummy. Save the money. Make the Cash Call now at 866-590-CASH.
Some people said a hybrid couldn't look this beautiful. Some people said a luxury hybrid could never have an EPA estimated 45 city miles per gallon. Some people said you can't give it a starting price the same as your gas-powered model. Here's to proving them wrong.
Discover it now. For a limited time, lease the all-new Lincoln MKZ Hybrid for $388 per month. Visit your local Lincoln dealer today.
Now any room can be the TV room. When you add the wireless receiver from AT&T, you can move it almost anywhere because your TV adapts to your life, not the other way around. Move your TV where you want with the wireless receiver from AT&T Uverse and enjoy like never before with 100% digital picture and sound. Get Uverse TV starting at $19 a month for 24 months with qualifying bundles. Get the same great price for 2 years. Uverse, entertainment inspired by you. AT&T.
Cranberry apple walnut grilled chicken salad, only at Carl's Jr.
It's America's birthday, and we're giving you the presents at Hyundai's 4th of July sales event. Take home a Sonata, J.D. Power & Associates' most dependable midsize car, and get up to $2,500 in total savings. A new Elantra is just $149 a month. Both come with America's best warranty. You can even get 0% APR with no payments for 90 days. But hurry, the event ends July 7th. Only at your Southern California Hyundai dealer today.
Welcome back. We only have time for the 7-day forecast here, but we've got a trough of low pressure in the West Coast, guys, so some morning clouds in L.A., keeping us below 80 for the high. We should see some afternoon clearing and then get a little bit warmer by next week. The Inland Empire, low 90s throughout the upcoming holiday weekend forecast. San Fernando Valley near 90, but we'll be in the 90s by next week and a little bit more in the way of sun. And Orange County beaches definitely seeing the partial clearing, but lots of morning low clouds and fog. Micah?
Jim Castillo, thank you. And now the very latest on that breaking news in Simi Valley. A fireworks show at the Rancho Santa Susana Park in Simi Valley goes off every year. The entire valley there. So excited to see it. This year it started off great for the first 2 minutes, say witnesses. Then all of a sudden what firefighters describe as some sort of a ground burst. In layman's terms, the fireworks didn't shoot into the air as they're supposed to. They started shooting every which way, as described by people there, sideways, many of those fireworks shooting into the crowd. The confirmed number injured by the fire department in Ventura County tonight, 14 transported to the hospital there in Simi Valley, with many of them moderate injuries, burn injuries, shrapnel injuries there at that fireworks show in Simi Valley. We'll have any new developments throughout the night on our website, KTLA.com, and the very latest beginning tomorrow morning at 4 a.m. on the KTLA Morning News. Darren Horton in the Ford Sports Final coming up next year on the other side of the break.
The current time and temperature is brought to you by Mercury Insurance. Get a free quote at mercuryinsurance.com.
It's the quiet game, so be quiet, and everybody wins. Download yours at 76.com. Brought to you by 76. We are on the driver's side.
Every inch, every minute, every second, we chip away at redefining capability for whatever days may come. Like beach days, rainy days, even vacation days.